Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic veteran here with Yanzi Lin once again, and we are talking about Marvel Comics as they try, as Spider-Man is stretched so thin to represent every single person in the world. Let's talk about it. So Spider-Man, Spider-Verse is a thing. I'm sure you all know about it. It's a multiverse type thing. I kind of have a hate-love relationship with multiverse stories because it can get quite ridiculous really fast. And Marvel is pointing this out with the new Spider-Verse event they're doing. Obviously, we've seen gay Spider-Man. That I'm not making this up. I'm not saying it's gay. They're saying it's gay. Marvel's billing it the character's gay. We've done a video about it. We've talked about it. And you go, well, where do we go from here? If we're at gay Spider-Man, where do we go from here? And well, we have a disabled spider person.
First, let's get this out of the way. We do not know the orientation of this new spider person here called Sunspider. But I think if you look at this image over here, it's a pretty good hint that this person is probably going to be part of the LGBTQIA plus community.
Right.
So, and let's look at who is writing a story. Oh, look, our favorite creator over here, who, by the way, hits quite a number of checkboxes herself.
Right.
Queer, autistic, disabled.
Now, before we get into that, people are going to go in the comments, Shane, this is not a new character. This was previously created in, guess what, 2019. We get that. This character coming out and hiring T. Franklin is Marvel purposely trying to say something. Now, we're going to talk about that a little bit. But before we do, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications as we do talk about things in the comic verse, pop culture, whatnots. All right. So, Yanzi, explain to people what's kind of happening here.
So, Spider-Verse, Energy Spider-Verse, is this multiverse Spider-Man story where you have Spider-Mans from all kinds of different multiverses, and it seems like a lot more of them are actually in the LGBTQIA plus community for some reason, but hey, they make up 5% of the human population, whatever. So anyway, T. Franklin will be writing a story about this character called Sunspider, created by Dane Broder. So, well, Dane Broder themselves is actually also a member of the disabled community, but see, let's look at this checkboxes again. Black, queer, autistic, disabled. And here's what Dane Broder looks like. So, yeah, you know, not maybe a bit too fair, maybe, I do not know. But yeah, so in the world of checkboxes, obviously, the more checkboxes you have, the more qualified you are to write, I guess.
Right. Somebody, can we go back to that photo? Somebody lost out on the checkboxes, paper, rock, scissors, and T. Franklin obviously won. And now the job goes to T.
Okay,
Franklin.
this is seriously unfair. I feel this is the creator of Sunspider, and this person actually has writing credentials. Why don't they get to write the character they created? That's very unfair.
Because the way of the comic book industry right now, it's a diversity pyramid. And basically, the more diverse you are, the more boxes you get checked, which you can see in T. Franklin's. They're listed there. They're very important. So that's a resume today. Okay, that's how the American comic book industry kind of works. I remember I was at a DC event. It was kind of like a writer's retreat thing, and Brian Michael Bendis was on stage. Jim Lee was presenting him to everybody. It was a creative retreat. Everybody was sitting there in the auditorium, and Brian Michael Bendis was taking questions. And whether you like Bendis or not, this was right before Spider-Verse was coming out with Miles Morales. And, you know, he's a co-creator of Miles Morales. Somebody raised their hand and they asked Bendis, like, do you feel creators? And this is a creator, I'm not going to say the person's name, that was very prominent SJW, and they were working in mainstream comics at that time. How are they doing GoFundMe's now? Probably, but that's besides the point. They put him on blast by a baited question, and it was like, do you feel creators of a different skin color or sex or sexuality should be able to write a character that they don't represent? And I really am not a big fan of Bendis. He won me over respectively, at least with this one answer, and that was, and I'm quoting Bendis on this, if a writer can't write outside of themselves, then are they even creative to begin with? Who went on to point out in a nicer way and self-deprecating joke, because he's on blast in front of an auditorium full of creators and editor staff, that if he only wrote himself, then he would be writing white, middle-aged, straight men. And then on top of it, he's like, well, am I able to write younger versions of myself? Am I able to write an 18-year-old white straight man? You see how this works, because now he's a different age. And this is a weird dynamic that's actually the argument for hire me for this job is I represent this character, that therefore you must hire me. Now, obviously there are things and challenges in life that somebody, with a disability maybe understand about writing a character with a disability. But at the same time, it's like a lot of people have written Daredevil and they're not blind. So you see how this works. It's like, I don't think that's a requirement for a writer. Now, can it be a utility? Sure. But what's really happening here is selling diversity and people trying to use people, basically going through the Rolodex and hiring these creators only when it's time to take advantage and try to capitalize off of their life situation. Now, T. Franklin's obviously okay with this. Archie, she lost a round robin thing. Archie picks up the phone and right away it's like, hey, can you write a Archie Riverdale handicap character? DC Comics again, let's do a comic. Let's put in a character that's disabled. These are real examples happening in real comic time. Now you go, is the creator only wanting to do this, or is DC editorial kind of asking them to do this? And really, the only people that know that is the editor of the book and T. Franklin themselves. If I was a comic creator, I would worry about this as a career path, because you're limiting your scope of things you can write or what people are expecting to hire you for, or if you were an artist, or it doesn't matter. It's like you're limiting your scope. I wouldn't want to be hired specifically for that as a comic creator. Now, I used to work for Marvel and DC. I don't anymore. I work for myself. But I still worry about people that go along line with this. Like it's not the best resume, I think. What's your thoughts, Yanzi?
I think it's a very sad point in history where we actually need to say, okay, you know what? Maybe the best person to write someone is the person themselves, and they can't write anything else. So I feel that on some level, T. Franklin is actually being exploited by these corporates used to create disabled queer characters because she herself fit all those checkboxes. So we had this example, of course, Vixen's girlfriend in the Harley Quinn Eat Bang Kill tour. T. Franklin inserting her grandmother here, falling in love with a disabled character also. So you see 2 for 2 already. And now we have this character over here, which suffers from EDS. I just feel it's very tragic that they look at T. Franklin and say, oh, you fit all these checkboxes. Wonderful. We'll hire you. And people cannot complain because not only do you match the characteristics of this character, you also have all those characteristics in real life. So if people criticize you, they're obviously bigoted Yazis or whatever. So, hey, 2 for 2, lovely win.
I had a conversation also with another creator I'm going to keep unnamed, but I kind of respected some of the work this creator was doing on a female superhero. And I was like, hey, do you ever feel like moving on up to, like, say, Batman or something? And they were like, no, why would I? I need to write this female character and work on this female character because that's important. I'm like, yeah, but eventually you want to move up to the biggest pop culture character you can. And everybody in the room got quiet. I was basically being corrected that it's very important and their time is now. And so what I realized is, like, with SJWs, is there's a point in time where, and we're in it, where they're not really worried about being on the most popular book or the most popular character or even selling the most amount of comics. It's about agenda, propaganda. It's like a political, I don't know, like a political statement, or I don't know what it
No,
is.
look at this. Look at this post over here. T. Franklin ends with the hashtag representation matters. So it's all about representation now. That's what comic books are. It's representation. It's not about storytelling and anything.
I'm going to leave on this point. If you take a character like Spider-Man, can we see a picture of the character in suit? If you take a character like Spider-Man or the disabled Spider-Man here, or Spider-Person, and you make the character into everything. If you take a property and it's supposed to represent everybody and everything, eventually Spider-Man means nothing. That's the problem. And I wonder about Marvel with bisexual Superman, all the bisexual characters at DC. like the thinkings of this, because in the end, the intellectual property is really the value. It's not the actual comic. It's not really, it's about how many t-shirts they can sell, how many toys they can sell of that emblem. And that's what matters to these corporations. And in a weird way, they think, well, we're going to sell more to all these demographics and groups. Like we're going to sell, to this community a Spider-Man t-shirt. Okay, but at the cost of what? Does the character Spider-Man mean anything anymore? Is this a little bit of a type of erosion that will eventually happen to the character? Why does this have to be a Spider-Man character? Why can't this be like another character? When I grew up, I was reading New Warriors. Night Thrasher's sister was part of the team, and she was disabled. You can make a new character that fits these boxes, but instead it's just very easy and very much a corporate pander to go to popular intellectual properties like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman, and just try to do representation through them at the cost of the intellectual property itself. But if you guys will, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Do let me know your thoughts on this. And also, I need to let everybody know, but bam, here we go. Inglorious Rex is completed in pencils, so please do go. The train doesn't stop moving. Inglorious Rex 2 will be launching this fall, or probably close to the end of the year. So the sign up is live. If you do sign up, you get access to get a lenticular card with purchase, and it will mirror and represent the lenticular card that we did have with book 1. So if you want to be a completionist, you do want to go sign up and give us your email address, and we will catch you guys again with another video.